Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. I recently received an email from Shay, one of the members of our GPS for Love community, who wanted to know how long it should take before she decided to become exclusive with a guy. And it was such a great question that I decided to make it in today's video. Now, first of all, before anything, I want to acknowledge Shay for actually even asking this question, because the biggest mistake that so many single men and women make is that they jump into relationships before even realizing if the person is relationship material. So Shay, big props to you. Now, what I decided to do is because, here at GPS for Love, we're all about creating strategies, creating plans that will increase your odds of creating the results you want. So I decided to come up with 3 questions that you can ask yourself. And when you ask yourself these questions, it'll let you know if you should enter into a relationship with someone. So here they are. Question number 1. Does he appear to be relationship material? Now, if you're like most members of the GPS for Love community, you're interested in having a committed long-term relationship. Now, if this guy shows up and you're interested in him and he's showing you he's a nice guy, you have some chemistry, you have some things in common, but he's really not relationship material, then there's no sense going forward. There's no sense being exclusive. Okay, so that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, can I see myself spending the rest of my life with him? Again, simple question, but very important, because if there's something about this guy, if there's a deal breaker, say you live a healthy life and this guy doesn't, say you want someone who doesn't have any unhealthy habits like smoking or drinking, and this guy smokes like a chimney, or you're looking for someone, you're very spiritually based, and this guy doesn't have a belief and doesn't believe in a higher power. Well, no matter how great the chemistry is, no matter how much you have things in common, that's a deal breaker for you, and he'll never be the guy that you're looking for him to be. So better to recognize that up front and in the beginning. So that's question number 2. Question number 3 is, does he have the same goals and desires that I have? And again, if he's the right guy for you, he's going to want the same things. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had over the years with women who have said, you know what, I wanted to have kids and he didn't want to have kids. And I'm like, well, why did you marry him? Well, I thought he would change. Or, you know what, the guy said from the beginning that ultimately I want to leave this state and I want to move away. And the woman was like, I can't leave because my family's here and I love it here. And that became an issue. Or there were some other things where they just weren't on the same page. Again, doesn't make somebody wrong if they have different goals, they have different desires than you. But you've got to be clear, you've got to be honest, and you've got to communicate that up front before you enter a relationship and become exclusive. And it's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, because it goes something like this for most people. They meet someone, there's some attraction, there's some chemistry, they have some things in common, and then they jump into a relationship, and then somewhere down the road, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, they realize that, you know what, this is not the right guy for me. And then they get frustrated because they're afraid of leaving, because they're afraid they might not find somebody else or might not find somebody better. And then they're stuck, and then they choose to settle. And I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be that way. And that's why I've created these 3 questions. Because if you ask these 3 questions before you enter in a relationship with a guy, you'll get a good indication of if it's the right guy for you. Now, that being said, if you get yes to all 3 of these questions, that simply tells you it's okay to be in a relationship. The true test of a person's nature and a person's character is when you are consistently in a relationship with them over a period of time. Think of it like a job. It's like a probation period. That's when you really get to see a person's true colors and how they show up in your life. So just because you get yes to these answers up front doesn't mean that it's going to be the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Ultimately, time will reveal those truths. So you might want to write these down. You might want to go back and review this. But it is essential that as you go forward in your love life, that you learn these 3 questions and you ask them before entering into another relationship. So love to hear from you. What's your feedback? What are your thoughts? Have you made some mistakes in the past where you got involved with someone who wasn't on the same page with you, or you saw that he was relationship material, he wasn't relationship material, but you ignored the red flags, you ignored the deal breakers? Again, it's never a mistake if you learn from it, but I want to hear from you. And again, if you have any other questions, comments, or feedback, put those in the box below. As always, an honor and privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. Much love.